Somewhere in your kitchen right now, your refrigerator is quietly ruining food. Not saving it, ruining it. The tomato that tasted like cardboard in last night's salad, the cold did that. The bread that went dry and hard 3 days after you bought it, the cold did that too, and I can prove it. The potatoes that fry up strangely sweet and too brown, the honey that turned to grainy stone, the coffee that lost its smell, cold, cold, cold. You were taught one rule your whole life: when in doubt, refrigerate. And for a good share of what you eat, that rule is not just wrong, it is the very thing making your food worse and making it die faster. My people have kept full pantries for 200 years with no refrigerator at all, and the first thing every Amish girl and boy learns in the kitchen is that cold is not one medicine that cures everything. Every food has a place where it keeps best, and for a surprising lot of them, that place was never behind a cold door. My name is Jonas, and I am Amish. Today I will walk you through our kitchen the way my mother walked me through hers, station by station: the counter, the bread box, the butter crock, the larder shelf, and down the steps to the cellar at the end. And at every stop I will hand you the foods that live there and the reason why. 20 of them, all told, and I will count them out loud so you can keep score against your own refrigerator. And hold this one to the end, because it is the champion of the backwards rules. There is one everyday food that dies 3 times faster in the refrigerator than out of it, and I will wager my hat it is in your refrigerator right now. Start at the counter, in the open air, because that is where the living things belong, the fruits that are still ripening, still working, still breathing. Number 1, the tomato. A tomato is not done when you pick it, it is still building its flavor, and that work runs on warmth. Put it in the cold and the work stops forever, the flesh goes mealy, the taste goes flat, and no windowsill afterward can bring it back. Every Amish kitchen keeps its tomatoes shoulder to shoulder on the counter, stem side down, and eats them in the order they ripen. Number 2 and 3, the peaches and the melons. Same story, a peach ripens in a paper bag or a bowl and goes to the cold only after it is perfect, if it lives that long. A whole melon wants nothing but a shelf, it is wearing its own storage room. Number 4, the bananas the English brought us all. The cold turns the peel black and stops the sweetening cold. And number 5, the onion's cousin that everyone gets wrong, the garlic. Garlic in a refrigerator thinks winter has come and spring must be near, and it answers the only way it knows: it sprouts. On the counter in a dry little basket, a head of garlic keeps for months, getting quietly stronger. Second station, the bread box, and here is your champion, the backwards rule I promised, so let us settle it now. Number 6, bread. Bread does not rot in a day. What kills fresh bread is its starch going stale, the crumb stiffening as the starch sets back into crystals. And here is the fact the old bakers knew in their bones and food science later measured, that setting up runs fastest at refrigerator temperature. Cold does not slow staling, cold is staling's best friend. Bread in the refrigerator goes hard about 3 times faster than bread in a plain wooden box on the counter. 3 times. The bread box is not a piece of nostalgia furniture, friend. It is the correct instrument, dark, room warm, just airy enough to keep the crust honest. A loaf that must live longer than 4 or 5 days does not go to the refrigerator, it goes to the freezer, sliced, deep cold stops staling dead. It is the half cold of the refrigerator that feeds it. If you take one thing from this whole walk, take your bread out of the refrigerator tonight. And I know some of you are already arguing with me through the screen, because an English visitor did exactly that at our table one August. A schoolteacher, sharp lady, watched my wife slice a counter-kept loaf and said, flat out, that everything keeps longer in the cold. She had it from her mother, who had it from hers. So my wife cut 2 slices from 2 loaves baked the same morning 4 days before, one that had lived in her bread box, one she had set in the propane refrigerator we keep for milk, just to settle the question. The cold slice bent stiff like cardboard and tore when the butter touched it. The box slice folded soft over the knife. The teacher chewed both, went quiet the way honest people go quiet, and asked for the bread box measurements before she left. Her mother had not been foolish, cold is the right answer for milk and meat, and she had simply stretched a true rule past its borders. That is how most kitchen mistakes are made, not from bad sense, but from one good rule asked to cover the whole kitchen. While we are at it, tell me in the comments, right now, before we reach the cellar, which food from your refrigerator do you already suspect does not belong there? Write it down. By the end of this walk you will know if you were right. Beside the bread box sits station 3, the piece that visitors always ask about, the butter crock. Number 7, the butter. Butter is mostly fat, and fat does not spoil in a day or a week. Salted butter on the counter is an old and common custom that half of Europe never gave up. The old kitchens went one better with the water-sealed crock, the little bell that holds the butter upside down with its rim under an inch of water, so the air never touches it at all. Fresh, spreadable butter for a week or two, no cold door, no torn toast. Number 8 lives right beside it, the honey, and honey is the food that laughs at time itself. Sealed honey found in tombs thousands of years old was still honey. It cannot spoil on your shelf. The only thing that can go wrong with it is the refrigerator, where it seizes into grainy stone. And number 9, the jar the English keep cold out of pure habit, the peanut butter, and the cooking oils beside it. The cold does not preserve them, it just turns them to brick and cloud. A dark cupboard is all any of them ever asked for. Station 4 is the larder shelf, the cool, dark, dry cupboard away from the stove, and this is where the everyday army lives. Number 10, the potatoes, and this one matters for more than taste. Potatoes in the refrigerator convert their starch to sugar, which is why they fry too dark and oddly sweet. The cellar cool darkness of a low cupboard or a paper sack keeps them right for weeks. Number 11, the onions, in a basket where air moves, but never in the same basket as the potatoes. Each breeds a thing that spoils the other, so the old rule is simple, same shelf, different corners. Number 12, the winter squash and pumpkins. A hard-shelled squash on a cool shelf is a sealed vault that keeps from October to February with no help at all. Number 13, the coffee. The refrigerator is the worst room in the house for it. Every time the jar comes out, damp air condenses on the cold beans and washes a little more of the smell away. A dark cupboard in a tight jar, and it keeps its soul. And 14, the eggs, and here I owe you the honest version, because it depends on your eggs. A farm egg comes wearing its own invisible seal, the bloom, and unwashed. It keeps on a cool pantry shelf for weeks. That is how every grandmother in the old country kept them and how we keep ours. But the store eggs in America are washed before they are sold, and washing strips that seal. Those eggs have lost their coat and do belong in the cold. Know which egg you hold, and you know its shelf. And then, down the steps, station 5, the cellar, the cool dark room that does what your refrigerator pretends to, for nothing, at about 55 degrees the whole year. Number 15, the apples, in a slatted crate where air can move, though the old folks kept them a step apart from everything else, because a ripening apple breathes out the very gas that hurries every neighbor along. One bad-mannered apple really can move a whole shelf. 16, the root vegetables, carrots, beets, turnips, packed standing in a box of barely damp sand, where they hold crisp for months, not weeks. I will tell you about the sand box, because it is the cheapest miracle in this whole video. A wooden crate, a bag of plain builder's sand barely damp enough to hold a shape, and the carrots go in standing on end like soldiers, not touching, tops trimmed, a layer of sand, a layer of carrots, to the brim. The sand holds them at the cellar's cool, keeps the damp even, and keeps the air off, which is all a root ever wanted. The March I turned 8, my mother sent me down for carrots while snow still stood in the fence rows, and I remember being sure I would bring back something soft and sorry. They came up out of that sand cold, wet orange, and so crisp they cracked, in March, from an October harvest, and I have trusted the old ways since that morning the way you trust a thing you have held in your own hand. 17, the cabbages, wrapped each in a sheet of old newspaper on the bottom shelf, cool and patient till spring. 18, the hard cheese, a will dipped in wax, or a cut piece wrapped in cloth, not plastic, Cheese is a living thing that wants to breathe, and it ages in a cool larder the way it has aged for 1,000 years, growing better instead of merely older. 19. The crock of fermented things, the sauerkraut, the brined cucumbers, which are not going bad in that crock. They have already gone exactly as planned, and the brine that made them keeps them cool and dark all winter. And 20. The sealed jars, the jams, the pickles, everything canned last summer, which ask for nothing but a dark shelf until the day the lid first pops open. 20 foods, 5 stations, and not one of them behind the cold door. Now step back and see the shape of it, because the shape is the whole lesson. The refrigerator is one room with one answer, cold and damp. But food does not want one answer. The tomato wants warmth to finish its work, the bread wants room air, the butter wants a water seal, the potato wants cool darkness, the carrot wants damp sand, the cheese wants to breathe. The old kitchen was a whole little country of climates, counter, box, crock, shelf, cellar, and every food lived in the province that suited it. The modern kitchen bulldozed all those provinces into one cold box, and then wondered why the tomatoes taste like the box. Your refrigerator is not evil, friend, it is crowded. It is doing 6 jobs that were never its own. Give those jobs back to the counter and the cupboard and the crock, and 3 things happen at once. Your food tastes the way it used to, it lasts as long or longer, and the cold door finally has room for the milk, the meat and the leftovers, the things that truly need it. And let me say that last part plainly, because I want you trusting your own kitchen, not just agreeing with an old man on a porch. The cold door earns its keep, and some things must stay behind it, no argument, no romance, the milk and the cream, the fresh meat and the fish, the cooked leftovers, always. The washed store eggs we spoke of. Anything already cut open, the half melon, the sliced tomato, because a cut surface is an open door, and cold is the right guard for an open door. The old ways are not a war against the refrigerator, they are a war against using one tool for 20 jobs. My own family keeps a small propane chilled box for exactly that short list, and it is half empty most of the year, because everything else in this video is living somewhere better, for free. So here is tonight's move, and it costs nothing. Pull 3 things out of the refrigerator, the bread, the tomatoes, and the honey, and give each its right home. The box or a drawer for the loaf, the counter for the tomatoes, the cupboard for the honey jar. Taste the difference by the weekend. Then come tell me in the comments the one food you were most surprised to find on this list, and confess, if you dare, what is the strangest thing you keep in your refrigerator that has no business there? I read every word down there, and last month a woman admitted to refrigerating her bread, her bananas, and her batteries, and the whole porch has not recovered yet. Those sealed jars in Station 5, before long I will show you how they get filled, because canning season is nearly on us, and one Saturday of it feeds a family till spring. But that is its own evening. Until then, free the bread, crowd the counter, and let the cellar do its quiet work. The old ways still work.